Have you ever gone on your local Facebook group and one of your neighbors has reported that on their Ring camera, a suspicious looking subject walked across their lawn and was seen on camera? And as have you seen this person? This is a suspicious guy. And it just happens to have been one of your neighbors. Well, this happens a lot. And there's a reason this happens a lot because in Canada now, we're scared. We happen to be worried about crime. And a lot of crime could have been prevented right from the start. We're going to talk about the failed catch and release program by this Liberal government and what you can do to feel a lot safer in your neighborhood. Let's go. Welcome back to Bakes on Things. This week we are covering subjects where you can make a difference now that the Liberal government has been voted back in and there's nothing we can do about it. And folks, Canada is becoming unrecognizable. We know this. Crime is rising. Communities are rattled. People are scared. But our government is still Liberal and they're still doing nothing about it. They're not locking up criminals. In fact, they're releasing them. And this, of course, has been called catch and release, which we know Pierre Poilievre fought very hard against in the campaign. And now there's not much we can do about it. Or is there? Because under this Liberal government, it's become standard operating procedure to not worry about the safety of Canadians. You commit a crime, you get arrested, then you get bail. And then you go out and you do it all over again. And again. And again. Today, we're going to blow the lid off this broken system. We'll show you the real crimes that could have been prevented. We're going to actually give you examples of these things so that you know this is really happening. We're going to talk about the devastating policy failures of all of this. And finally, how you can fight back. And at the end, we've, of course, got a new What the Maple story, which will give you goosebumps. But we don't have to surrender, folks. Hit like, subscribe, and let's get into it. So, what is catch and release? Well, catch and release sounds like something from a fishing trip. However, in Canada, it's the sad reality of our justice system. Under current bail and sentencing rules, violent repeat offenders, yes, violent repeat offenders, are often released within hours of being arrested. Why do you think police unions all endorse Pierre Poilievre? To get rid of this. Often they are released without the public even knowing they were arrested and released in the first place. And here's the worst part. Many of them go on to reoffend while out on bail. Some commit violent crimes. Others even kill. Now, this isn't a bug in the system. It's literally been a designed system, a system designed by the Liberals. And if you don't believe it, let's talk about the blood on the Liberals' hands. Let's talk facts. Starting with 10 stories that are real. Constable David Wynn was killed in Alberta by a man who had over 50, yes, 50 prior convictions, and at the time was out on bail. In Toronto, police arrested 18 people connected to a major crime ring, many of them with lengthy rap sheets, and half were out on bail. 6 were released again immediately after this particular bust. In 2022 alone, over 250 Canadians were murdered by individuals who were out on release. Yes, 250 lives we could have saved. This is fact, folks. Miles Sanderson, with 46 prior convictions, was released and went on a stabbing spree in Saskatchewan, killing 11 people and injuring 17 more. Shirley Turner, accused of murdering her ex-boyfriend, was released on bail and later killed their infant son, Zachary, in a murder-suicide. An Ontario man, out on bail for assault, was rearrested for a violent carjacking just days after he did that. A Vancouver offender, previously convicted of armed robbery, was released and committed another robbery within the same week. Over into the Quebec corridor. In Montreal, a man with multiple prior convictions was released and subsequently involved in a fatal shooting. But it doesn't stop there. Back out to the west, a Calgary individual out on bail for drug trafficking was found operating a large scale fentanyl distribution network. Shocker. Back out east. In Halifax, a repeat offender was released and later charged with multiple counts of sexual assault. Folks, these aren't stories from a dystopian novel. These are stories from our home and native land. This is Canada. This is Canada, and it started under Trudeau and continues under Mark Carney's Liberal government. Well, how did we get here? I mean, how did this start under Trudeau? How did we let all of this happen? Well, we let a decade of Liberals happen first, and now we're adding 4 more years to that potentially. The Liberals weakened bail laws, making it harder to detain repeat offenders. They blocked conservative-led reforms like Bill S-217, which would have forced judges to consider prior criminal history in bail hearings. Blocked. No discussion. They ignored police unions, premiers, and victims groups. Again, hence why police unions were endorsing Pierre Poilievre at the time. All of whom warned this would lead to chaos. They called it compassion. But real compassion means protecting the victims, not releasing their predators. Okay, so we've heard all of this in the election campaign. I know you've heard all of this before, and you're depressed by those stories, and I apologize, but we got to get them out. What can you do? What can you do to push back as Canadians? How can Canadians create change now that we have 4 more years of the Liberals? What do we do? The Liberals are in power. Does that mean we just give up? Absolutely not. We cannot. We need safety in this country. We fight back. We do it peacefully, relentlessly, and together. And here's how. First, flood your MP's office. Call. Email. If you feel unsafe, let them know. Demand they support stronger bail laws. Ask them if they support catch and release. Put them on record. If it's a Liberal MP, put them on record still. Join or start a local neighborhood watch group. I know some of you have them. I know these have disbanded recently because of safety, but we need them. Don't wait for Ottawa to protect your street. Help each other protect your street safely. Organize, communicate, watch out for each other. We all have Ring cameras now. You don't even have to go out in the street. Support victim rights groups. Support advocacy coalitions. There are powerful movements out there that we can amplify if we all amplify them. Peaceful protest still matters. Do it. Rally. Speak. It's summertime now. Let's get out there. Let's have our voices heard. Show up at town halls. Your voice makes noise. The more you push, the more change can happen. Help push for provincial change first if you need to. Then, even if federal policies are broken, provinces can act, like Ontario and Alberta, trying to strengthen their own bail conditions. You have more power than you actually think, Canada. And if we don't act now on things like this, the next headline could be someone we all love. And that's the last thing any of us need. It is imperative we push back. All right, let's lighten the load here a little bit. It's time for What's the Maple? And here is our story. With all this chaos, it's easy to forget something. And that is that there are still incredible Canadians out there doing good. This is our newest segment, supporting businesses and incredible Canadians doing good things coast to coast. That's why we end each episode now with something like this, with something uplifting, because this is a heavy episode. I get it. It's a segment we call What the Maple. And this week's story takes us to Vancouver. So yesterday we were out in Halifax. Today we're in Vancouver, all the way on to the other coast. And it introduces us to Stephanie Quan. Now, Stephanie, at just 19 years old, looked around and saw something too many politicians ignore. Thousands of Canadians don't have access to technology. No computer, no connection, no future. So, what did Stephanie do? Stephanie founded a nonprofit that refurbishes donated laptops and computers. It trains people in digital literacy and gives them the tools they need to succeed. Students, seniors, immigrants, low income Canadians, you name it, Stephanie's been helping all of them. People locked out of opportunity are now back in, thanks to one teenager who decided to step up. Much of the stepping up, like we've talked about in this episode. She's already helped hundreds of people. Great job, Stephanie. And she hasn't done any of this for likes. She hasn't done any of this for press, did not ask for this segment, but she did it just because it was the right thing to do. And we can't forget that that's Canada. And that's the spirit we need in our streets, in our justice system, and in our politics. Shout out to you, Stephanie. And thanks for sharing that story. So here's your mission, folks. Don't stay quiet. Be like Stephanie. Make a difference. Don't stay scared. Don't stay stuck. If you believe criminals shouldn't be walking free before their paperwork is even printed, then stand up and say something. If you want to honor the lives lost to the broken system that we undergo today, then help fix it. And if you believe in the Canada that Stephanie Quan clearly believed in, one where people help each other and do what's right still in this day in 2025, then subscribe, share, and join us. Tell us more stories like Stephanie's in the comments. Make sure you email me those stories if you want them featured in these episodes. We want to make sure we are showcasing the right Canada, because now is not a time for panic. Now is the time. We're in Canada. We're just getting started. We'll catch you next time.